Welcome to your custom deep dive. When you look at a standard map, you expect permanence, right? Like a mountain is here, a river is over there.
Like the highway connects them, yeah.
Exactly. But for you listening, as we investigate the rise of real-time GeoAI today, that static map is just, it's utterly useless. We're looking at why modern geography is suddenly alive.
Yeah, it's moving from historical map making to proactive, autonomous, spatial AI, which is a massive structural paradigm shift.
And if you're building or investing in these systems, you realize pretty quickly that the old way of doing things, treating geography like a snapshot, it's just structurally failing today.
Oh, absolutely. The traditional geographic information systems, or GIS, they basically choke on the velocity of modern data. It comes down to the sheer physics of it, honestly.
So it's mostly a speed issue then?
Well, yeah. For decades, GIS relied on relational databases and sequential batch processing, which, means putting data in a digital waiting room to process later.
Right, which is fine for drawing static property lines or whatever.
Exactly. But today, we have massive, continuous IoT telemetry. We're talking millions of drones, sensors, phones, all constantly pinging their locations.
So the old databases just freeze up trying to process all those pings, right?
Yeah, they have to constantly lock and update their files, which just paralyzes the whole system.
It's like receiving yesterday's weather report in the middle of a hurricane.
That is exactly what it's like.
It's not just late, it's structurally useless when you need to make a survival decision right now.
Precisely. And that's why the new architecture abandons that old waiting room for decoupled streaming pipelines. Systems like Apache Kafka, for example.
Okay, so like a continuous conveyor belt.
Right, a conveyor belt. And they use edge computing, meaning processing data locally near the sensor, to handle these unbounded streams of four-dimensional telemetry on the fly.
Tracking millions of objects in 3D space over time without hitting pause.
Exactly. The math happens while the data is literally still in motion.
Okay, so we fixed the speed issue. But wait, speed is useless if the AI can't actually understand the map. Language models process discrete text tokens, right? Not infinite mathematical space.
Right, they need distinct words.
So why can't the AI just read raw GPS coordinates? My phone reads them perfectly fine.
Well, because AI struggles with infinite floating point decimals. If you feed it exact coordinates down to the millimeter, it gets completely overwhelmed by the continuous numbers. It needs a distinct, finite vocabulary.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it needs discrete words for space. Is that where discrete global grid systems come in? Like Uber's H3 from our sources?
That is exactly where they come in, yeah.
Because from what I read, it essentially turns the Earth into a giant board game of Catan.
I love that analogy. Yes, it's just like Catan. Systems like H3 partition the entire globe into a hierarchical grid of hexagons.
Wait, why hexagons though? Why not just use squares, like a digital checkerboard or something?
Because hexagons have uniform adjacency. Think about it like this. In a square grid, the distance to your diagonal neighbor is mathematically different than the distance to the neighbor directly beside you.
Oh, right. The hypotenuse is longer.
Exactly. But with a hexagon, the distance from the center to any adjacent neighbor is perfectly identical. So it translates complex geography into discrete words that the AI can easily ingest.
Which drastically speeds up radius queries, right?
Oh, massively! Sometimes reducing processing times by up to 98% because the AI is just counting identical tiles instead of doing complex geometry.
Okay, so now we have an AI that can read this real-time streaming K10 board. What is it actually doing with it?
Well, the real-world stakes are immense. Take disaster management, for instance. These systems fuse data from decentralized IoT water sensors on the ground with, say, cloud-penetrating SAR satellite radar from above.
So real-time flood prediction.
Exactly. Because the AI views the Earth in those identical hexagons, it calculates the exact volume of water moving from one tile to the next instantly. It autonomously predicts flood paths.
And issues evacuation warnings within hours. That sounds like a flawless safety net, but I have to push back here.
Go ahead.
AI hallucinates, right? If a text AI hallucinates, you get a weird poem or fake history. If an autonomous city agent hallucinates a dry evacuation route that is actually underwater or misclassifies structural damage, people die. The physical stakes are catastrophic.
You hit the nail on the head. That's the systemic vulnerability here. You simply cannot rely on probabilistic AI outputs in the physical world without rigorous real-time spatial filters.
Which completely reshapes the human element, right? Like the labor market decoupling we're seeing.
Yeah, traditional map making is stagnating. Manual desktop digitization is fading out, but the demand for spatial AI orchestration is seeing over 30% annual growth.
Because the industry desperately needs people to architect these pipelines and prevent those exact hallucinations.
Exactly. Someone has to govern the agents.
So the human role is elevating from manual data entry to strategic orchestrator. Which means, for you listening, that static map on your wall really is a relic. We're entering an era where space is processed instantly.
It's constantly alive.
Right. And it leaves you with a final thought to ponder. As spatial AI flawlessly embeds into our infrastructure, will geography eventually disappear as a separate science? Or will it simply dissolve, becoming the invisible autonomous nervous system of the modern world?
Workflows. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on the latest in AI and GIS. See you in the next video.